After the Nephilim demon had been bound, Solomon commanded another demon to come before him. And there came before his face 36 spirits, most of their heads shaped like animals, but in themselves they were in human form, having faces of all sorts, faces of asses, faces of lion, faces of oxen, and faces of birds. These were the spirits of the zodiacal circle, and of the 36 constellations, called decans, in ancient Egyptian astronomy. And Solomon, on seeing them, wondered, and asked them, saying, "Who are you?" But they, of one accord, with one voice, said, "We are the 36 elements, the world rulers of darkness. And O, King Solomon, you will not wrong us, nor imprison us, nor lay command on us. But since the Lord God has given you authority over every spirit, in the air, and on the earth, and under the earth, we therefore also present ourselves before you, like the other spirits, from ram and bull, from both twin and crab, from lion and virgin, from scales and scorpion, from archer and goat-horned, and from water-pourer and fish." Then Solomon invoked the name of the Lord Sabaoth, and questioned each, in turn, as to what was its character. He bade each one to come forward, and tell of its actions. And the 36 spirits came forward in threes, each set of 3, representing one zodiacal sign. The first 3 decans came forward, and introduced themselves as the decans of the first zodiacal sign, the one known as Aries, or the ram. And Solomon questioned them, saying, "What are you called?" And the first spirit said, "I am called Ruax, and I cause the heads of men to be idle, and pillage their brows. But if I hear the words, Michael, imprison Ruax, I retreat at once." The second said, "I am called Barsaphael, and I cause those who are subject to my hour to feel the pain of migraine. If only I hear the words, Gabriel, imprison Barsaphael, I retreat at once." And the third said, "I am called Arotosale. I do harm to the eyes, and grievously injure them. Only let me hear the words, Uriel, imprison Aratasale, and I'll retreat at once." The fourth spirit was not given account of, or perhaps he declined to introduce himself, but he is called Horapel. The fifth spirit said, "I am called Eudel, and I bring about a block in the ears, and deafness of hearing. If I hear, Uriel, imprison Eudel, I retreat at once." And the sixth said, "I am called Sphundanel. I cause tumors of the parotid gland, and inflammations of the tonsils, and tetanic recurvation. If I hear, Sabrael, imprison Sphundanel, I retreat at once." These spirits, from the 4th to the 6th, were the 3 decans of the zodiacal sign, Taurus, or the bull. The 7th spirit said, "I am called Sphander, and I weaken the strength of the shoulders, and cause them to tremble. I paralyze the nerves of the hands, I break and bruise the bones of the neck, and I suck out the marrow. But if I hear the words, Aral, imprison Sphander, I at once retreat." The 8th said, "I am called Belbel. I distort the hearts and minds of men. If I hear the words, Aral, imprison Belbel, I at once retreat." And the 9th said, "I am called Curtail. I send colics in the bowels, and I induce pains. If I hear the words, Ioth, imprison Curtail, I at once retreat." These spirits, from 7th to 9th, were the 3 decans of the zodiacal sign, Gemini, or the twins. The 10th spirit said, "I am called Metathiax. I cause the reins to ache. If I hear the words, Adonal, imprison Metathiax, I at once retreat. The 11th said, I am called Catanicotal. I create strife and wrongs in men's homes, and send on them hard temper. If anyone would be at peace in his home, let him write on 7 leaves of laurel the name of the angel that frustrates me, along with these words, Ieo, sons of Sabaoth, in the name of the great God, shut up Catanicotal. Then let him wash the laurel leaves in water, and sprinkle his house with the water, from within to the outside. And at once I shall retreat. And the 12th said, I am called Saphatharael, and I inspire partisanship in men, and delight in causing them to stumble. If anyone will write on paper these names of angels, Iako, Elo, Iolit, Sabaoth, Ithoth, and having folded it up, wear it round his neck, or against his ear, I at once retreat, and dissipate the drunken fit. These spirits, from the 10th to the 12th, were the 3 decans of the zodiacal sign, Cancer, or the crab. The 13th spirit said, I am called Bobble, I am also called Bothothel, and I cause nervous illness by my assaults. If I hear the name of the great, as thus, Adonal, imprison Bothothel, I at once retreat. The 14th said, I am called Cumentail, and I inflict shivering fits and torpor. If only I hear the words, Zorowel, imprison Cumentail, I at once retreat. And the 15th said, I am called Rolled, some call me Subeti. I cause cold, and frost, and pain in the stomach. Let me only hear the words, Ix, bide not, be not warmed, for Solomon is fairer than 11 fathers, I at once retreat. These spirits, from 13th to 15th, were the 3 decans of the zodiacal sign, Leo, or the lion. The 16th spirit said, I am called Artrix. I inflict upon men fevers, both irremediable and harmful. If you would imprison me, chop up coriander, and smear it on the lips, reciting the following charm, this fever which is from dirt, I exorcise thee by the throne of the Most High God. Retreat from dirt, and retreat from the creature fashioned by God. And at once I shall retreat. The 17th said, I am called Eropale. On the stomach of men do I sit, and cause convulsions, in the bath, and on the road. And wherever I be found, or wherever I find a man, I throw him down. But if anyone will say to the afflicted 3 times, into their right ear, these names, Eudorize, Sabune, Dino, I shall at once retreat. And the 18th said, I am called Buldamek. I separate wife from husband, and bring about a grudge between them. If anyone write down the legends on paper, as follows, the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, commands you, retire from this house in peace. And if placed in the antechamber of his house, I at once retire. These spirits, from 16th to 18th, were the 3 decans of the zodiacal sign, Virgo, or the Virgin. The 19th spirit said, I am called Naoth, and I take my seat on the knees of men. If anyone write on paper, Hanunabal, depart Nathath, and touch not the neck, I at once retreat. The 20th said, I am called Madero. I send on men incurable fever. If anyone write on the leaf of a book, Sphana, Raphael, retire Madero. Drag me not about, and flay me not, and tie it round his neck, I at once retreat. And the 21st said, I am called Alath, and I cause coughing, and hard breathing in children. If anyone write on paper, Rorex, do pursue a laugh, and fasten it round his neck, I at once retire. These spirits, from 19th to 21st, were the 3 decans of the zodiacal sign, Libra, or the scales. The 22nd spirit was also not given account of, or perhaps declined to share details of himself, but he is called Ordamioth. The 23rd spirit said, I am called Nephthada. I cause the reins to ache, and I bring about dysentery. If anyone write on a plate of tin the words, Ithath, Uriel, Nephthada, and fasten it round the loins, I at once retreat. And the 24th said, I am called Aktun. I cause ribs and lumbic muscles to ache. If one engraves, on copper material, taken from a ship which has missed its anchorage, as thus, Marmarat, Sabaut, pursue Aktun, and fasten it round the loin, I at once retreat. These spirits, from the 22nd to the 24th, were the 3 decans of the zodiacal sign, Scorpio, or the scorpion. The 25th spirit said, I am called Anatroth, and I rend burnings and fevers into the entrails. But if I hear, Herrera, Sharara, instantly do I retreat. The 26th said, I am called Enanath. I steal away men's minds, and change their hearts, and make a man toothless. If one writes, Al-Azul, pursue Enanath, and tie the paper round him, I at once retreat. And the 27th said, I am called Fifth. I make men consumptive, and cause hemorrhagia. If one exorcises me with sweet-smelling wine, unmixed by the 11th eon, and say, I exorcise you, Fifth, stop, by the 11th eon, then give it to the patient to drink, I shall at once retreat. These spirits, from the 25th to the 27th, were the 3 decans of the zodiacal sign, Sagittarius, or the archer. The 28th spirit said, I am called Harpax, and I send sleeplessness on men. If one writes, Cochnodismos, and bind it round the temples, I at once retire. The 29th said, I am called Anosta. I give rise to uterine mania, and pains in the bladder. If one powders into pure oil 3 seeds of laurel, and smear it on, saying, I exorcise thee, Anosta, stop, by Marmarat, at once shall I retreat. And the 30th said, I am called Aliborith. If in eating fish, one has swallowed a bone, then he must take a bone from the fish, and cough, and at once I retreat. These spirits, from the 28th to the 30th, were the 3 decans of the zodiacal sign, Capricorn, or the goat. The 31st spirit said, I am called Hephasimerath, and I cause lingering disease. If you throw salt, rubbed in the hand, into oil, and smear it on the patient, saying, Seraphim, cherubim, help me, I at once retire. The 32nd said, I am called Ichthion. I paralyze muscles and contuse them. If I hear, Adonith, help me, I at once retire. And the 33rd said, I am called Iconian. I lie among swaddling clothes, and in the precipice. And if anyone writes on fig leaves, Lycurgos, taking away one letter at a time, and write it, reversing the letters, like so, Lycurgos, Hecurgos, Kurgos, Ergos, Goes, Os, I retire at once. These spirits, from 31st to 33rd, were the 3 decans of the zodiacal sign, Aquarius, or the water-bearer. The 34th spirit said, I am called Autothith. I cause grudges and fighting. Therefore, I am frustrated by Alpha and Omega, if written down. The 35th said, I am called Thanoth. I cast evil eye on every man. Therefore, the suffering eye, if it be drawn, frustrates me. And the 36th said, I am called by Anakith, and I have a grudge against the body. I lay houses to waste, I cause flesh to decay, and all else that is similar. If a man writes on the front door of his house, Melto, Ardu, Anath, I flee from that place. These spirits, from the 34th to the 36th, were the 3 decans of the zodiacal sign, Pisces, or the fish. Having heard all of this, Solomon commanded them to fetch water in the temple of God. But they resisted, just as they warned him they would. And Solomon prayed to the Lord God, to cause the demons to be bound, and made to approach the temple. Then he condemned some of them to do the heavy work of the construction of the temple of God, and some of them he shut up in prisons. And others he condemned them to wrestle with fire, in the making of gold and silver, sitting down by lead and spoon, and to make ready places for the other demons, who would also be confined.